Hello, everyone. Welcome to SureFire Live. Had a little technical difficulty tonight, so I'm not sure if it's actually even going to broadcast out. I was working on this, and it doesn't look like the notifications went to all the Facebook pages and all the things. So I might just be talking to myself tonight, and then I'll just have to rebroadcast it because I'm not seeing it pop up anywhere. So hopefully we have people join us, but I'm not 100% sure anybody is able to see this. So I might just be talking. Welcome. I looks like we do have some people showing up, but for some reason it was telling me it wasn't going out to anyone. So here we are. Well, thank you for joining me. It's been a little bit since I've been on here. I've been I was sick last week. I had lost my voice and I could not even talk. And so I couldn't do the show. The weeks before that, 2 weeks before that, I went on a sailing trip, had some fun with some other chimney guys. We're the soot sailors, and we were going to race in the British Virgin Island regatta, and they rented us the wrong boat. So the boat that they rented us, because normally go rent a certain kind of boat that has a class of people. Jim Brewer and several other guys, are the captains. I'm there. I handle a certain sail, and then when they tell me what to do, I do it. That's the extent of my knowledge, but. They gave us a catamaran, which is great. I mean, if you want a vacation, that's the boat to have, not the race boat. But we were there to race, and we kind of island hop and have a lot of fun. So I know you don't feel too sorry for me, which is fine. But it wasn't the plan. So we just did some fun stuff. But on that trip, I also recorded a podcast with the guys on the boat, a lot of business guys. And so I'm going to edit that and send it out for this week. And it's a very interesting podcast of what people, what they're doing. So how are you guys doing tonight? Oh, we do have a good group joining. So please comment. All the notifications said it wasn't going out. So some people are finding me. So good deal. Well, tonight, I talk to business owners almost every day. And a lot of them are worried. A lot of them are concerned. A lot of them are having issues, like serious issues that they hadn't had in the past. And I kind of wanted to talk about, what we're doing, what others are doing, what, maybe if you can help me, what's working for you, what isn't working for you. Are you part of this, situation where you're worried about things, or are you saying, hey, we're kicking ass? I will say this, I made a note, and I was listening to Dave Ramsey Entree Leadership podcast, and he said some stats this week that I thought were really interesting. And then I looked up the article to find out the full article. So, on a lot of articles, it depends on what you're looking for in the article. Is it good or bad? But he said that 38% of business owners are really worried about 2024. The rest of this year, getting through it, election and all that stuff. And 32% of respondents said that they aren't sure they're going to make it through 2024. So literally not going to make it. And I get that. I recently shut down my HVAC division and also a branch office that we had. And in this business environment, if something is kind of skating on thin ice, it may not be worth going down that rabbit hole of trying to make it work when you don't have a big, the big tide and the big surge of a great economy and things working. Sometimes you're throwing good money after bad. And I can tell you, I did this in 2008 when the housing market was crashing and everything was not working. I just had this internal feeling that it's going to turn around and it will start working. So I just kept throwing more money into it and saving people's jobs and, doing everything I could. Eventually I stopped paying myself because it's going to turn around. It's going to turn around. Well, it didn't turn around till like 2009. And by that time, I had really gone in the hole quite a bit to try to save it. And I always said after that lesson that I would have to react faster. I would have to do things faster as soon as I saw, any kind of a fluctuation, or if I just keep putting money into something that's not working, then I have to pull the trigger faster. And that's what I had to do this year. In the last 6 years, we've basically started 6 businesses, 6 branch offices, or new businesses, or new divisions. We're kind of starting one a year. And honestly, they all don't work. And sometimes I don't know enough to make it work. And sometimes just, the pressures are against you. Things will not line up. And everybody thinks I've got, great luck or whatever. And I think, you make your own luck. But also, I try a lot of things. And if you look at my list of successes and failures, I've got failures right along with the successes, but I keep trying some things. So when the things do work, it seems like everything's working, but that's not really how it is. I was listening to Tommy Mello talk the other day, probably arguably one of the most successful blue collar stories out there right now. And, he was talking about how he had to shut down his Florida operations. He had 4 operations. And when they looked at it, they're like, this is just not working. We're going to shut down Florida. We're going to change focuses. And that helped me understand. I think I've talked about this before, that I only say this to help you understand that, this entrepreneurial journey is a journey. It's not a straight, everything works and you do this. There's this in that. And sometimes this part is a rough situation. It's brutal, but you learn the most when you're losing. You learn the most when the tides are against you, and you rarely learn a lot when you're winning. When you're winning, you're just winning, and you're like, sometimes you try to win more and it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But a lot of times, I talked to a friend of mine, Chuck Hall, and I'm like, when the tide's coming in, you really look like a smart business guy. You look very intelligent. You look like, man, you just got it figured out. And when the tide's going out, you feel like you can't do anything right and things are just not working. And both of those things are true and not true. The reason they're not true is because you're probably not as good as you think you are when the tide's coming in, and you're probably not as bad as you think you are when the tide's going out. And you just have to weather the storm if the storm is worth weathering. I realized I didn't turn one of my lights on here. Let me turn a couple lights on because it's going to get dark in 1 second. All right, I'm back. So, talk to me, guys. This is an open conversation. Please comment, and it looks like it's working. So we have plenty of people joining us. So I wanted to talk about what we're doing and what I know some other businesses are doing to make the phone ring when the phone is not ringing. So my marketing company, I get a report every month on, how many searches, how many people searched for us, how many people found us, how many people clicked on our website, how many people called us, all those things. And a lot of those numbers are drastically dropping. In fact, one of my main campaigns is We Fix Leaky Chimneys. And you guys know this. I'm a huge fan of it. It's worked great for years. And we're coming up into the time of the year that it really does. It works. And it does work. We got a lot of those calls as long as it's raining. But my marketing company said, hey, I wanted you to know that some of the stuff we noticed is that people aren't looking for that search term. And we need to look at some other things. And I just want you to know that search term is not popping up right now, which is a little bit, scary, because that's a main campaign we have in the spring or summer. Hey, Jason. Jason says, was that from the government survey they sent out, those numbers? Well, what I read it from, Jason, was, let me see what it was. It was like the St. Louis, I can't find it. It was like a St. Louis Times or something is what I found. What I looked at this, once I heard it from Dave Ramsey, I did a search and said, what do business owners think about 2024, something like that, or are business owners worried about 2024? Are making it through that. And I found the article and it popped up on Google. So that's how I found it, but let me just go on, because there's more to that article. I just read the worst part, which is 32% or 38% are worried, and 32% think they're not going to be in business. But let me just read the other side of that article. The other side of it was, the other half are excited about potential growth. They also believe they're going to expand in 2024. So, who are you going to listen to? It said a lot of people think 2024 is a make or break year. I don't know that it's a make or break year. I know that it could be a rough year, but man, we've had them in the past. And a lot of times, what you really have to do right now is put your head down, focus on what you need to do to make it work. And then also, sometimes you will create other things in a bad time that really propel you in a good time. So, I'm going to talk about some of those things we're doing now that we've never done before. And some of them are really starting to pay off well that we wouldn't have done it unless we were worried. When we're not worried, we do our same normal thing. When we're worried, we start to go, we start to try to look for things. And in that hunt, a lot of times is really good for business. It really can help you, especially down the road. Jason says, I was asked to complete the Business Trends and Outlook survey for the census. It was a 4-part series that asked a lot of the same questions. Hey, that's interesting. I didn't see that, or I didn't get asked to do that. But do you know where those results will be published? Be interesting to see what they say. So the question, how long ago did you do it? And because it takes years for these surveys to kind of go through the government thing. And so for 2024, it'll probably pop out in 2026. But that's good. I think a lot of people want to know that. My point is, what if it's not working right? Oh, that was last year. Okay, thanks, Jason. Oh, here it is. He put the link on here if anybody wants it. It's census.gov/programs-surveys/btos.html. So thank you. I might look into that a little bit, see if there's a result of that. But that being said, I hate these times. Don't get me wrong. It's easier to run business when things are really good and things are just flowing. But I also know that in 2008, when I crashed the business, I fixed a lot of stuff. That crash helped me fix that big setback. When you look at your lifetime and you look at all the things that were bad in your life, a lot of times you look back on those as like, thank God that happened. Thank God I got a divorce from that person. Thank God I stopped working for this company and started this. Thank God I moved cities. Thank God I did this or that when it was bad. When it was a terrible thing, you made a change. And now you look back on it and go, that actually was a good thing. Very rarely will stuff stay bad. As long as you're breathing, trying, going at it, it might be a really bad setback and that really hurts. But the setback is the setup for the comeback. So, that's how I look at it. And I hate it. We recently, let some people go and said, hey, this is a bad time and I have to cut anything that's not working to save the main business. That's just what it is. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying this is what business really looks like. And some of the biggest companies in the world and the biggest companies in the world are cutting tens of thousands of people to do the same thing. So if the biggest companies in the world have to do it, I will too at certain times. And then when the economy is good, we roll everybody up and we add more people to the team and we try to grow. And that is just what business looks like. I don't want to think of anybody as a failure or a success. A lot of times I see people growing really fast. I'm like, that's exciting. I know things can change. And so I tell people when things are growing that what's working for me now, what lessons I'm learning. And then even when business is retracting, what am I learning? We're basically flat. Basically, we're almost the same numbers as we were last year. So we're actually the same numbers we were last year with a few less people. So that's usually more profitable, but you also have a certain level of overhead that you've got to, maintain. So, but I want to talk about what we're doing to make the phone ring. And I'm going to say something that is super basic, that is super simple, but yet people don't do it. And the answer to all of your problems with your business is this. It's on the other end of this thing. This thing, when times are good, and obviously it's hopefully not a cell phone that you're getting called on, it's a business line, but the phone. When things are good, people are calling you like crazy. They want your services. They're looking for you. They just can't wait to get your services and they buy all you got. And the phones are ringing off the hook and we're booked out months and we can charge whatever we want. And man, that's a great thing. Great thing. And then some people don't necessarily grow on that. They don't add people or trucks because they don't want the headache. Fine. But some of us do grow on that. When it's ringing, I want to service more people. As a CEO, I think of I don't think of how many hours I have in the day. I think of, if I hire 5 people, now I got 60 more hours in the day, or 40 hours a day. Well, we're working 12 hours a day. But like, I think, how do I scale with people, not how do I scale on myself? That's entrepreneur thinking. When you think, how do I scale more? Like, how do I make the phone ring more? That's entrepreneur thinking. As a CEO, you think, who can I pay to make the phone ring more, right? If I've got a lot of work, I say, how do I get more work done myself? As an entrepreneur thinking. As a CEO, I'm thinking, well, I probably need to hire 3 to 5 people to get that work done, to catch up with what the needs are. It's just, if you're going to scale a business, you have to switch from entrepreneur thinking to CEO thinking, and they're different. Actually, I was going to make a whole nother talk about it, but I'll add this in. Like, so on an entrepreneur, let's just say that's they think, how do I get more clients? A CEO thinks down the road, how do I build this business up to sell it? Right? Those are two different thought processes. Entrepreneur thinks there's 12 hours in a workday. A CEO thinks, well, if I hire 5 more people, I'm going to get 40 more hours of work done in a day if I can manage the people. An entrepreneur would think, once I get this set up, then I can probably advertise and then and build the business. And then as a CEO, I'm thinking, well, who could I pay to set it up so I can grow and scale the business? Like, it's a different thought process of going from entrepreneur to CEO to running the company. And so that's kind of what I was getting out of that. I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent. Jake Ryan. Hey, Jake, hope you're doing well. He says, every economic downturn, Dad learned the business grew in different ways. And it has set us up for when there was an uptick in the economy. That's exactly my point. Get through this. Thank you, Jake. Get through this and fix the stuff you didn't have time to fix when you're so busy you can't fix it. You've got time now. And here's the thing, back to the phone. Let's just say your company averages 40 phone calls a day. Some are more, some are less, doesn't matter. Just say you have an average of whatever the number is. If you're not getting the 40 calls a day in, you better make the 40 calls a day out, right? You better, or more. You better make this thing go both ways. If you got people in the office and the phone's not ringing, make the phone ring. I'll give you an example, and I don't want to talk too much about the details of this, but I'm going to tell you something we're doing. And if I've been doing it for the last 2 weeks, it's produced a ton of work for us, but I don't want to go too far until I tell you. I'll tell you kind of what it is, but not the details. Don't ask me yet, because I got to talk to the company to see. I don't want to tell you something that's working for me right now and I find out it's a bad deal or it's something. But basically, we put our customers into a dialer. And so let's just say I had 3 days ago, I put, we got 5,000 chimney sweep customers from 2021 to 2024. Those 3 years, 5,000 chimney sweeps are due for annual service. Okay. Well, I put those into this dialer. It's a 3-line dialer. It's dialing all our customers. And if they pick up, my customer service person's on the other end, says, hello, this is Heather with Ashbusters. Our records indicate it's time for your annual service. We're offering a $50 discount, or whatever your thing is, and books an appointment or doesn't. If they don't pick up, which is the majority of the phone calls. So say out of 1,000 phone calls, you're probably going to get 200 people to pick up. But then it leaves a voicemail with my message on it. Hey, this is Mark Stoner, blah, blah, blah. It sends a text message, and it will send an email. So everybody gets this multiple thing. Man, in the last 3 days, we've booked 60 jobs from that dialer, from that call center going out. So we're very active on, so that's just one. That's the annual service for chimney sweep. We got annual services for liners. We got annual services for heat shield. We got annual services for gas logs. We've got open estimates that we've left and nobody's been calling on for a while. We've got also in the neighborhood, when we're working in the neighborhood, you can call the people around where you're working and say, hey, we're in your neighborhood. Would you like us to, do you need chimney work done? So there is so much. What I'm really getting at is there's so much to do outbound, but we hate it. Our office is not used to it. It's easy to wait on that phone call. They want to talk to you. They're the expert. When you're calling out, they're not expecting you. Most people are going to be voice messages. Some people say, hey, I didn't like you guys 2 years ago when you did. I'm not going to hire you. Some of it's rough. But what are you going to do? I love the saying, oatmeal is better than no meal. So let's get on the phone. This is your answer. I can't be more clear. All of the money in the world is on the other end of this phone. Get everybody on a phone, get everybody smiling and dialing. And you can, if you've got a CRM, you can definitely make easy phone call lists for, again, what we do is open estimates is our number one thing. We've went to the house, we did a service, we provided an estimate, they didn't do the work. We've got literally millions of dollars of work that we estimated. And especially, I mean, you can go back 1, 2, 3 years. You can offer discounts. The summertime, we're slow. You can also tell them, hey, and let me just tell you this: when you call, put a deadline on whatever your offer is. Always do it on any offer you have, whether it be, mail or a phone call or a postcard or whatever you're doing. Make it a very short a time frame that it's over, because you have to make people move. If you just leave it open, one, the deadline could hurt you because then they call you in the busy season. Number two, this phone call process, and maybe you already do it with your current customers. I typically never had to do it. The people just call me, and I always had enough work without really calling them. If they set up annual services, we set up annual services, but we weren't actively trying to really call everybody because it's so much time. So this technology can help you call everyone and at least, put the bug in the ear and the text and the email and the voicemail. And now they've heard about you. And then some people can opt out and say, hey, don't call me ever again. But most people aren't doing that. Again, I didn't get the update from today, but the first 2 days of the process, we booked 60 jobs in the summertime when nobody's looking for us. So when nobody's looking for you, you've got a database that is a gold mine. It is an absolute gold mine. Realize you're sitting on the pile of money you need. It's sitting in a computer. Get it out and mine that data. Now, is it, you got to sift a bunch to find a little gold? Yes. Sometimes you find a nugget in there. Like we booked $100,000 worth of large jobs just by making these phone calls. Like, yeah, I forgot to call you. I've been meaning to. Thanks for the phone call. You have an open estimate. We booked like one after another after another. I'm not saying that's normal, because yesterday we booked one small job from the phone calls. But my point is, you have to be proactive and set up systems for when. My point is, I want to get all these major customers off my books so they're not calling me in the fall and winter too. Like, I love this, that I'm getting rid of all these people and taking care of them in the spring and summer, so I can look at new customers in the fall and winter, which we all know that's the most potential to make more money. Jake says that's why they call it work, baby. It is work. My office at first did not like this. They're like, I don't like this dialer thing. Now the girls call me every day saying, and it was so excited about booking the jobs, because they don't want to just sit there and wait for the phone to ring and be dead and be boring in there. What's exciting to them? The phone ringing, having work to do, not too much work to do, but there's that balance. Patrick Robert says, keep the ball rolling, get what you put in. Yeah, that's it. If the ball's not rolling, make the ball roll. How do you make the ball roll? So I don't also, when things are slow, I don't want to spend a bunch of money on something I don't know is going to work, but I'm paying people to sit there anyway. And again, take your number of phone calls that you would normally get in a day. I think most people probably know how many phone calls they need to make their business work. At least be making those phone calls outbound if they're not coming in. If your call log says you got 6 calls today and you need 50 calls to make it work, you better get on the horn and make 40 more phone calls, 45 more phone calls or more to generate the thing. Because here's the other thing. You're going to call people, and like if somebody calls me on the phone, a lot of times I don't answer. 2, they have a message. It might be my car needs something done or my motorcycle or whatever. I'm not going to do it right then, but it's in my mind. And so I'm planting seeds. Okay, yes, immediately it might pop out a crop and boom, I got it. And it has 60 jobs, boom, ready to go. They were the seed, they were ready to go. I just had to make the phone call. Like, yeah, absolutely, come out. But others, I'm planting that seed. So This is just round one of the phone calls of the annual sweeps. I'm going to make another one in 30 days, 45 days, depending on our schedule, and say, hey, last chance offer before the busy season and before our prices go up. Here's your sign to get it done. That's going to generate even more calls because people's minds are already thinking fireplace. Right now, they're thinking spring, landscaping, vacation, kids' vacation, softball, baseball, all the things they got to do. They're not thinking chimneys. I'm making them think chimneys, but I'm going to just keep this thing on a spindle, on just rolling, rolling, rolling. And this will end up being a full-time job for somebody in my company that is the dialer, the outbound calls. Now, there are some things with the no call list, but in general, when you've done work for the customer, we haven't heard of any problems with it or any issues. And somebody who doesn't want it, most people don't pick up anyway, but they have opt out options or call us, and we'll take them off the list. But so far, people aren't minding the phone calls. They're actually thankful that they've been reminded of service. The other thing is, a lot of times people complained that when I would call back or they would call a couple years later and this maybe their repair was out of warranty. They were supposed to, like, well, their point was, why didn't you call me? Like, well, I'm too busy, or I didn't have time, or didn't have staff, or whatever. Now with this process, I'm going to run it for a few more weeks, and if it works, I will probably do a SureFire live on how it works. I was shown it from another chimney company, and I want to make sure that they were okay with me sharing it, how it works. It's not their process, but I don't want to, I don't want to, one, give bad advice, and two, if something doesn't work, I want to make sure it's good. But also, what are you guys doing? So that's what I'm doing right now. That's what I am focused on, is that what are you guys doing? And are you even needing to do anything different? Are you plenty busy, or do you like to slow down? Like, where are you in this list? Are you part of the 38%, the 32% that's worried that you might not make it through the year? Or are you part of the other side that, hey, we're good. It's just, and in fact, we're doing great. We're expanding. Like, how are you guys doing? Diane said, hey, Diane, hope you're doing well. But you need to recognize when a campaign isn't working and move to the next one. Yeah, totally. Like, hold on one second. Sorry about that. Got something in my throat. And I don't know what that looks like yet on that campaign as far as the calling campaign, but we will notice, like, we're really taking numbers down right now, and we are making a lot of notes and seeing what's good and what needs to be better. But the text part of the campaign is very helpful. Now, we were already using text for, like, to verify, we're coming to your home. We use a text campaign on open estimates, but I wasn't really doing a lot of calling and texting for annual services. So that's what we're working on right now. So another thing is, what we're doing is we're actually in the process of a rebrand. My brand has been the same since probably 1995. I started the company in 85. I had one logo at that time. In like early 90s, when I moved to Nashville, had another, just a house with a chimney on it. And then I had a professional graphics person make my current logo, which is the top hat, the brush, the bricks. And in that, because that's how I started the company. I bought the kit, had the top hat, had the brush, chimney, all that, was an homage to how I started the company. Well, is that really who we are today? Is that who Ashbusters, my company, is today? No, it's not. Chimney sweeping is only 7%, 8% of what we do. It is the door that opens up, but almost nobody understands what the top hat is. They maybe understand it. They don't know what that brush is. So I'm going through a rebranding process. Going to keep the name the same because we've really put a lot of money into that name. We're very well recognized in Google search. But I'm going to change the brand up. I'm going to change the colors up. I'm going to change it all up and flip the table over on it. So this year, in a down year, I knew it was going to be a down year because it's kind of on election years, it can be a down year, and sure enough, it was this year. But I'm doing a new service software. I'm doing a rebrand. I'm going to end up wrapping all my vehicles with this new brand and new shirts and new websites and new everything. And then where we started Rilla, which is that sales process where it's AI, listen to your sales calls and tell you how to be better. And then we're also using a new service software that is for inspections. And I know there's several out there, and we've had them on our show before, and there's several out there. We are going to end up using the Bare Hands Pro process. And Mike Fazy is a personal friend of mine, and we are going down that road with them. So in my company, I'm spending a lot of money on setting up for the next big growth for us. I feel like in business, you grow for a while and then you kind of get stuck at a certain level. And some people are fine with whatever level they're stuck at. But every time I get to a place where we're stuck, I go into the company and look and say, what do we need to fix to go to add the next big chunk or whatever goal I have. And so for years, it took me forever to get to $1 million in the chimney company, in the chimney industry. I mean, it took forever, but the next thing I did when I fixed that, I went to 2 million super fast. And then we kind of grew pretty steadily. And then I got stuck at the $4 to $5 million stage years ago. And that was a sticking point. And I knew I was kind of out of possibilities. I didn't know really how to go to the next level, but I knew there was a lot more possibility. I brought in a chief operations officer who had grown companies, and he took us from 5 to 15. Well, and then the last couple of years, we kind of gotten flat again, kind of flattened out. So I'm doing the same thing again. I'm looking into the company. I'm looking into what we're doing, looking at all the processes that we have and getting ready to like scrap them and build on what the next level companies are doing. So, that's what you need to do if you want to go to the next level. Whatever that level is in your business, find somebody that's ahead of you and find out what they're doing and do it. You don't have to reinvent this at all. I went to some events. I went to visit some companies. I saw things that they were doing. I need to implement those in mine. For me, I just try to be the book reporter and the voice of the industry, what's going on. And so sometimes I'm ahead of the game and sometimes I'm not ahead of the game. And that's just the nature of things. I'll be implementing over here and then something else kind of passes up over here. I'm like, oh, I got to look at that. Or sometimes it's going to take me a while to build this. And once it does, I show you, but I'm already on to the next thing, but you're still coming to this level. That's all good. We're not in a race with anybody. You're not in a race with me. I'm not in a race with you. I'm just trying to do the best I can for my employees, my company, and then ideally the industry. If something I have helps you, that's the whole purpose of this whole thing. But that's also your job to do, is to share what's working or share what isn't working. Some people feel they don't have a voice and they don't need to tell people, what to do, what not to do. Man, your knowledge will help somebody for sure at whatever level you are. If you're a 1 truck operation or you're a 20 truck operation, you do something better than somebody else. I promise you, every company out there that's watching this does something better than we do. And we probably do something better than you do. Fine. I know Jake and those guys are great at prior fires installation, and they do a great job with way better than us. Anthony Valerio. Hey, Anthony. Anthony does so many things so well. I love watching this guy go. And man, we talk all the time. And he's like, hey, what do you think about this? Or I ask him, hey, how'd you do that? Or how's this working for you? And he's sharing. He's one of those guys that's really trying to share with the industry of what's working. And he's got so many good ideas. And the main thing about Anthony, and this is a challenge for all of you, is the implementation of the good ideas. I mean, if you just sit here and listen to me talk, it might be entertaining. But I can tell you the guys who really implement are the guys who make a note. I've been to Anthony's place and I'll be saying something and he will stop right then and go, I got to go write that down. And he writes it down. And next thing I know, 2 months later, it's implemented. Or not even that long. By the end of the day, it's implemented. Or he made a phone call about it or figured it out. So, I think, again, there's a lot of great people out there that have good ideas. And you just stay focused on you. Some days you're going to be in the front of the pack and killing it. Some days you'll feel like you're in the back. You just keep going. For years, nobody had ever, from until 2008, I'd been in this business 17, 18 years by that point, and nobody had even heard of me. I'm just out there working by myself. And it wasn't until I put a bunch of things together and it worked. I said, hey guys, this is what's working for me. And all of a sudden, people started understanding what I was doing. And then other people followed that. But watching Anthony and some of these other young guns like Mike Fazy and Anthony and Steve Trumbull and the Ryans and these guys, they are moving. And watch them. I'm watching them too. We're all in together, and it's fun. I love this industry, but and I hate to see it go through a hard time. Like I said, on all this week, I'm getting phone calls from people saying, "Hey, I'm worried this isn't working." I put a TikTok out the other day about when I put them out almost every day. I cut up, whatever I'm doing and put it out there. But this one got 100,000 views like almost instantly, and all kinds of people have, comments and stuff. But it was about how I built a business that was worthless. I built that one truck operation, and I got hurt, and nobody wanted to buy my business. And I was mistaken in what business was and what value was. I'd focused. I'd heard something from somebody saying you can get 1 times gross of what your business is. And in my mind, okay, get the gross up so I can get $250,000 or $500,000 or whatever the gross is. And I realized that's not how most people buy businesses. You might luck out and somebody do that. And I've heard of people get that lucky, but I had to build a business that could work without me, first of all. And that's what my point was. But everybody's got different ideas, and sometimes people are like, I got nothing from what you said, or they might say, it's funny how you watch the negative stuff. And but my point is, while you're building this and you're building these systems, build it so that it can go to the next level if that's what you want. And Jake says, keep doing the shorts. It's appreciated and necessary. I started doing the shorts because my friend Jan Soons from Denmark, he said, man, I like to watch what you're doing, but man, you talk forever. You talk for a long time. I'm like, well, I'm doing a long form, live show. So it's like, and so it's so funny that several people like that I cut it. I just go to the straight meat of whatever I'm talking about and put that out there. And it's just like faster consumption of the information. So thank you, Jake. I'm glad you like it. It's funny when you put your stuff out on social media, especially on TikTok, what can happen. Like sometimes I'll put something out that I think is great and it probably have a lot of comments. Nothing happens with it. Sometimes you put something out like this last one I put out that had over 100,000 views, and it was okay information. It's kind of a little bit chopped up, so it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it made a lot of sense to somebody. So that's how it works. Hey, Anthony, or anybody else that's listening, what's something that somebody could do to make the phone ring right now? I know I talked about some ideas, and I know it might be hard. Some people are watching it certain ways, but if anybody has any advice on what they're doing to make the phone ring, if this is interesting to you, please put it on here. Secondly, how's business? If you're watching, give me a quick rating, 1 to 10. How do you think business is? Put it in the comments, 1 to 10. Tell me how business is. And I'd like to get a gauge of who's watching. Would be helpful so that because I'm in Nashville. Nashville is a good town. I mean, there's 27 cranes in the air. There's tons of money moving in here. There's Jason says 7. Well, that's not bad. That's I mean, it's better than a lot of people think. We have an influx of people, but a lot of them are coming from California and areas. Patrick says 6. I would say mine is about a 6 right now. I would say mine's a 5 or a 6 is my feeling. Besides weather, 8. Hey, Jake, that's awesome. Again, I'm going to say mine's a 5 to 6. I don't like the feeling right now because I love when we have a lot of sales. I don't like to have to fight for sales. Actually, I'm with Jake. It would be 8, except weather's been rough. Okay, that's fair. And so I like a lot of sales. My CFO likes profit. He's like, hey, our sales are down, but our profit's up. I'm like, that just doesn't feel as good. I like when we go out and everybody's saying yes and buying what we got. I don't like, yeah, we're more profitable per job, but more people are saying no. Hey, Josh, man, Josh is at 8 or 9. That's fantastic, Josh. I saw some of your Facebook posts, some of the stuff you're doing. I think you did a big fire recently that looked really good. It looked like you guys custom cut the side brick to fit in is what it looked like. It looked really good. Hey, Kurt. So Kurt, added services to get the phone to ring. We added a few more masonry services. So Kurt, when you say added services and masonry services, what does that mean? Masonry services, like we tuck point, we, rebuild chimneys, we cut and plug, we do crowns. Are you saying like you do flat work or you do, retaining walls, or when you say additional masonry service, because Kurt is a masonry service already. They were masonry before they were chimneys. They were heavy masonry, and then they got into chimneys and they're killing it up there in New York. But what does that masonry services look like, if you don't mind saying what that is? But he's right about that. Try to add stuff that's in line with what you're already doing. And I'll give you an example. Like a mistake I made was HVAC service. I, in my mind, thought HVAC service was right in line with chimneys. It's not. It's a whole different business, and it's not in line with it because I thought I've got 100,000 customers in my database. I'm sure, 10,000 of them would, or 5,000 of them would need HVAC service from us. Well, not really how it worked. So here's what Kurt says. Before we just focused on chimney, now we're tuck pointing around the house and also brick steps. Okay, so now you're moving back to more full tuck pointing. So that takes a different eye, right? When your guys are going out and they are just looking at chimneys, to get them to look around the house and look for more opportunities is a struggle that I have, because they just go look at the chimney. Sometimes they don't even look at the other chimney. They look at the chimney they were called to look at and don't even look at the other one they weren't called to look at. So we are focused really hard on that, on additional services around the house. So let me just finish the thought I had about do stuff that you're lined up with and stuff that you're not. But HVAC was not lined up like I thought it was. What I really like is if we're already really doing stuff and we've got it on the truck, or it's an easy add-on to the truck that the customer could use. So one thing we're starting right now is roof tune-up. So it's very simple, but roof boots are super simple, like the EverGuard are the ones that last forever. You don't have to pull the shingles up. You just drop it over. It's got a lifetime warranty. Add $200 to it, or they cost you like $25, but you're already up there. That's it. Like, silicone, paint, some roof boots, and you can do a quick roof tune up. And if, some shingles are loose, you can kind of reattach those. Not getting into roofing. That's a whole different world. Some people do, but what are you stepping over at the house that your guys aren't just looking for? So Kurt said it, tuck pointing around the house, waterproofing around the house, steps, walkways, all stuff that really is easy for us to do. We just don't look at it. We're focused on the chimney and getting back home. So again, that's a great point, Kurt. Make more out of you. You want to do fewer houses with more money, not more houses with less money. That's the lesson that Kurt is basically telling you. So Chad said 8.5, doing all sorts of masonry jobs all over the house. Exactly. Same point. Great points. Look for them. They're there. And just point out that we can fix this for you if you want. And a lot of times people will do it. Okay, so Kurt says the same thing. Added small roof repair and flashing. Right. You got a bunch of flashings on a house. You've got the bathroom vents. You've got the other chimneys. You got other vents. You got other pipes sticking out. You got dryer vent terminations. Like, you got a bunch of them. And I went up on my own roof the other day just to do my own roof check. And I had 5 problems. I had a roof boot that was coming apart. I had some exposed nails. I had a loose shingle. I had a ridge cap that had some exposed nails on it. Like, if somebody would have came and said, "Hey, we're $300 to do a tune-up on you, and we'll seal all these up and then roof boots are additional $200 a piece or something, I would have done it because my roof is high and steep. I can walk out one of my windows and walk right on there. It's no problem. I mean, clearly I can climb it anyway with ladders, but as a homeowner, I'm trying to put my homeowner hat on. Somebody comes and said, "Hey, you got a big leak right here." I mean, I'll show you something that was kind of crazy that was happening with one of my roof boots that I've got. I'll see if I can pull it up and show it to you. But I was on the roof, and I don't know if I can show it to you. Anyway, it was, oh, here it is. Um, uh, that's one of my, all this stuff. Oh, my, that roof boot's coming apart. Can't hear. Oh, so you can pull it out and see it from the ground. My roof boot was coming apart on the roof, and then my gutter was full of water. And this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. This is just a letter to my guys about what's even on my own house that I'm missing. I don't get up there, and I could get up there, but anyway, these are great. These are great things. Truth, Kent says truth on about less jobs, more money. Yeah. Why do we want more brain damage? Why do we want to spend more money on marketing instead of marketing to our current customers, trying to get more people to call us? Why don't we do more for the people who already did call us? You know, that's the point. Anthony Valerio says, anything outbound to start, door hangers and yard signs. Yeah, totally. We rely a lot on constant marketing like TV and billboards. You have to get people to look or think of chimneys, social media, anything that makes the customer problem aware. It's exactly right. Direct mail to the right neighborhoods. I don't think there's any one thing that will be a major. So we have multiple touch points. We are rocking here 9 out of 10. And he is rocking. He is absolutely crushing it right now. And I love seeing it because he does have a constant process marketing, and he has great socials. He has great outbound marketing. He does a lot of charity, a lot of community service type things, and he is killing it. And thank you, Anthony, for adding that in. Kirk says you can go back to your old customers to let them know you've added services as part of the outbound calls. That's a great point. And Kurt, I'm going to see you pretty soon, but yeah, that's exactly right. Add that to the outbound calls, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to change my voicemails right now. I already do it when people call in. I say, "Hey, thank you for calling Ashbuster's Chimney Service. Did you know that we provide, we do all types of masonry work around the home. We also do dry vent cleaning. If you should need that, your representative will be right with you." And so that is, like you said, it could be outbound calls, but it could also be inbound calls, your message on hold or your inbound call. Josh says referrals have kept the phones going. Awesome. Well, you do great work, right? But I have a hard time relying on referrals. I need to churn it. We're still 80% referrals. When I look at our stuff, we spend a lot of money on marketing, and we're still by far referrals. But we have a lot of trucks. It's a hungry monster. Bill Thornton says, our new thing was ripping out factory belts, installing, Orion electric fireplaces. Finally, we can make a decent margin on electrics. That's a great point, Bill. Do not sleep on electrics, especially electric inserts. We've done some big apartment complexes that didn't want to, all the chimneys are wrecked, right? The chases are wrecked, and we're going out there to bid, full tear downs or redo the chases and chase covers and chimney caps, or you can knock the whole thing down, roof over, and put electric in there. Well, man, they like electric. So I love wood burning, but let's just get real. If they have another solution, most people in these apartment complexes don't use them. These chimneys are leaking all over the place. I think my friend Steve Trumbull called it a chimney delete. They do chimney deletes. Well, get rid of it, put electric in there. Bill said they're great margins, and they are, and they're there's no headaches to them. You got to figure out what to do with the cord. But a lot of times that's an easy, you're basically getting rid of the prefab anyway. And we We recently had a tornado that hit a apartment complex. We had 80 fireplaces to replace. We gave the customers options. Do you want a prefab replacement? Because they were all wrecked. All the chimneys on the top got hit, were tore up, twisted up. 60% of the homeowners chose the electric option. And then 40% said, yeah, go back with the wood burning. Man, those 60%, that electric with that little trim piece on there. And then we took the chimney pipe out and sealed it up. Done deal. And people liked it. And people loved it. And you don't have any problems with it. Nobody calls them smoking or left their damper closed. Jake Ryan says, new campaign, out of sight, out of mind. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Out of sight, out of mind. Tell me what you mean by that, Jake. Kent says, you've already bought your customer. Right. To get to the door, back to the fewer customers, more money per, you bought the customer by being, your marketing worked and you're at the door. So how can you make more per customer, not more customers to do the level 1, level 2 sweep and inspections? And we're always trying to bid more work. If that is the case and they need work, we bid for it. But you're there to do the inspection first, make sure you do a good job with that. And then secondly, if they want a quote for repair work or you do that kind of work, you should give them a quote to do it. Kent says, oh my God, we do so many electric fireplaces. Isn't that wild? I bet you wouldn't have said that 5 years ago. I bet this is a new thing. And some of these electrics look really good. I mean, they're really coming. And don't sleep on it. Make sure you offer it. Make sure it's part of your process that you tell people, especially when the chimney's wrecked and you're going to give them a $20,000 bill and they're not going to do it, right? They'll just say, I won't use it. Give them the option to, go electric, make some from that customer rather than nothing from that customer. That's a great one. Jason says, yeah, electric was a big ticket extra for us for this year out of nowhere. Yeah, make sure, again, especially when you see that big chimney repair on the horizon for somebody and there's a lot of money on the line and you can tell that they may not have the money, right? I mean, let's just get real. Not everybody has $15,000 to fix a dang fireplace. Give them something to buy from you. Give them some kind of an option. You may not love it. Fine. I love wood burning more. No problem. But hey, it's in your house and you are a service provider making sure that they buy from you versus somebody else who doesn't even know what they're doing. So yeah, these are great points. I love it. Great. Again, I was worried tonight wasn't even going to go off, and it looks like it went off well. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I do want to close with a request from it for you. Upcoming is the Sweet Boy Cancer Rally. Sweet Boy Cancer needs more money. We're getting more requests than ever for people who need donations. And there's some companies that, like Mike Fazy's company and several companies and Chad, they donate all the time. And but we have a rally June 14th and 15th in Withville, Virginia. It's super fun. We got a good amount of people. The link is on sweetboycancer.com. Go down to rally. You can register. Even if you can't come, register, buy the tickets. We'll send you the t-shirt. Say, I can't make it, but I'm going to support you guys. And we donate all the money. It's 96% of every dollar that we raise goes back to cancer families and helps them pay bills. We used to donate to like research and stuff, but it felt like the money was just like disappearing. And so we said, look, we're just going to help people. Like if they request it, we just ask, how'd you hear about us? Are you in the chimney business? But you don't have to be. And sometimes we have to ask for, send us, something verifying that they do have, they are going through something. And then we send them money. We just send them money to help with bills. And the chimney industry has been amazing at helping us do that and helped a lot of people. And so many people are thankful. Unfortunately, a lot of people do still die, but at least we could do something for them before they pass. We could relieve a little pressure on the family or them as they're going through a really tough time. So we're not necessarily saving lives, but we're helping the lives while they are alive. And it makes a big difference to us. And it's very satisfying to be able to help people in some of the worst times they've ever had. So if you can, please help sweep away cancer. A couple more comments. Shad says, I think I'm in the slow times. It's getting your business firing with the employees getting their brains in the game too. Yeah. A lot of times your brain shut down. When you slow down, everything shuts down. You kind of keep the same thinking, and then it gets even slower. You've got to change your thinking, change your focus. It's tough to get people to change your brain too, I'm telling you. And then Josh says, want to make Sweepaway Cancer concert. Hey, you on the drums, me on the guitar. You know, there's a bunch of us drummers in this chimney industry. Sam Lawton and Steve Trumbull, Jack Watchman, me, you're on the guitar. We could make a band. In fact, Jesse Poole, or Katie Poole, her boyfriend Jesse, we were making a set list of all fire and smoke songs, and there's a bunch of them. We could make a whole show on, burning down the house from, the Talking Heads, and Smoke on the Water. And there's a million songs about things on fire or smoke that could be totally a chimney based band with a pretty good set list. So I'm not against that. I'm not against that thought at all. We should talk more about that. I think that could be a fun thing. So, all right, guys, thank you for your time. Sorry I missed a couple weeks. I will be back next week, and we'll talk more about chimney business. And I've got some ideas about where you are. I did that the Pathfinder treadmill, Trailblazer, and a lot of people really like that process. But I'm open for ideas. If you guys have people or guests that should be on the show, please reach out to me and let me know. And I do this for us as a community, and hopefully it makes it better. All right, guys, talk to you soon. Have a good weekend.